Assalamu alaikum and welcome back. You have just joined us on the final part of Women's AM, where we bring to you a little bit of travelling vlogs and diaries. Do you call it Shahina? Mashallah. But I'm actually really looking forward to talking about this. Shahina's been to many different countries, including Istanbul, Palestine, Jordan,
Fez, Egypt, Istanbul, Granada, you name it, I've been there.
MashaAllah, that is brilliant. But I'm so jealous, halal jealous, if there is such a thing, by the way. But I think I am a complete advocate of travelling. 100%, because I really believe it makes you grow if you go, especially if you go with that intention. Interacting with people from different countries, different places, different experiences, different perceptions, seeing our different historical sites. I think it's such a way for human beings to grow. Tell us why you travel.
I think one of the quotes I'd like to start with is a famous Moroccan scholar by the name of Ibn Battuta, when he said, travelling, it leaves you speechless, then it makes you a storyteller. And that's literally how I feel. I feel like I'm the little woman version of Ibn Battuta I'd love to be, and travel through different lands. And like you said, you know...
I have read this before, and that really, it's true. If I go abroad, I love to come back and tell the stories.
Absolutely.
And talk about the different experiences.
And it's nothing new, you know, if we see like the past books of travellers, even including Ibn Battuta, they sort of, you know, tell people what they've seen, what they've come across, what they've eaten. And that's how it feels when you're travelling, even if I go back to the same place. And I think the other thing as well, like you said, you know, travelling, it gives you insight. It makes you see the world. You know, when you're just sort of working, say, 9 to 5, you're in your little box of 4 walls, that's your little world, that becomes your world. But it's when you actually go out there, you see different people, you're sitting with them, you're eating different foods and drinks, you know, you're sharing things, you're hearing different languages, you're seeing the different reality. You know, it makes you a different person. You see the world differently.
Can you give us that little example you mentioned in the break that I really liked, with the water and being stale?
Yes, absolutely. Like I said, if you are a person that doesn't really move, you're just in your little zone, your little planet, if you want to call it. It's like a stale water. You know, if you just see, I don't know if you've been through the canals, you know, there's certain water that you see and it's just stale and it's been there for such a long time. There's no movement, no air, nothing. It becomes a bit impure, a bit dirty. But you see, whereas the water in the river, it's constant. The stream is going through fast and it's clean and it's pure. And that's how I feel mentally and physically when I'm travelling. I feel like the running stream, not the stale one. You know, and like you said, it does make you grow. It really makes you think and see, and the insight that, you know, of the world becomes a very bigger place, a very beautiful place.
It's a form of education, and education never stops, does it? Now tell us, of all the places you've been, from Fez to Palestine to Istanbul, Egypt, I'm reading your list there, Granada, Jordan, Amman, which is your favourite?
This is so difficult. I get asked this all the time. I think Palestine, because when I went to Masjid al-Aqsa, it was something else. You know, Shahina, I left my heart there, and it hasn't come back to me since. Palestine is something else. Al-Aqsa is beautiful.
Why does that not surprise me?
It wouldn't. It honestly is something else, you know.
You saw a lot when you were there as well. I did read a couple of your posts in terms of Muslims in Al-Quds being locked on them by the soldiers.
Yes, that was on our first night, subhanAllah. You know, we went there, me and my husband went for a walk, and then we seen that the main door's closed. So I thought maybe it's closing time. We asked the locals and said, no, there's no closing time. The compound's open to everybody. It's been locked whenever they want to. And I heard the women actually screaming, saying, open the door, open the door. And their men was waiting outside for them. And I said, how long is this going to take? And they said, we don't know. Could be till the morning, could be hours, Allah knows.
And this is a regular occurrence?
This is quite regular, yes. We've, you know, spoken a lot to the locals to see, because like I said, I didn't just go there to feel good for myself and I've seen Al-Aqsa and I'm going to feel really good about it. No, I went there to see the reality of the people there, you know, and everywhere we went, you know, the brothers and sisters, the elderly, they would say, where are you from? So I said, okay, I'm living in the UK, etc. And they'll say, welcome home. You know, I've been to so many places, Shahina, and that people say, welcome to Fez, welcome to, you know, Turkey, Egypt, etc. But it was Palestine that said, welcome home. And
that is so touching.
Yes, and it touched. And
it's quite emotional.
Yes, it is emotional. And you see why I left my heart there, you know. There's way too much history over there. You know, we've seen hadiths where, you know, there's not an inch in the grounds of Palestine al-Quds where prophets haven't stepped on, where angels haven't come down on, subhanAllah.
And living amongst these people who face struggle every single day.
Yes.
That must have made it really hard for you to leave.
Very hard to leave. In fact, I was the weak one there. You know, you see their strength, subhanAllah. On a Friday, I went to Jummah. I was very blessed to go to Jummah there. I didn't think that day would come, subhanAllah. And everyone was there. and they were just giving out food and sweets. The kids were running around. You'd never think they're going through that oppression. And here's me feeling like, oh, I don't know how to deal with this, you know, and that's how weak I am. SubhanAllah, the people, the strength, the character, the history, you know, these are, Salahuddin al-Ayyubi has conquered that land once before, and these are the descendants. We are the descendants of it. So I see the strength in their characters.
People do come back and talk about their resilience. But let's talk about a few more other countries. If I had to ask you to rank your countries, the ones that you've been to mention once again, Fez, Palestine, Istanbul, Egypt, Granada, Jordan, Amman, what order would you rank them?
Oh,
I understand Palestine comes on the top.
Yeah.
And then?
I think the second one has to be between Granada and Fez. There's just so much beautiful history with it. Someone would think, why? Granada is Al-Andalus, and Spain, which we know the Muslims ruled over a good few centuries. And just to go and see the history of it, Alhambra Palace, and then there's a masjid opposite the mountain there, and you can see it's all engraved around you. It's something you can't ignore, you know, subhanAllah. It's a totally different country now. You know, Spain, I used to just view it as Europe, but when I heard, hold on a minute, you know, it's got some Muslim history there. And it was one of the best, subhanAllah, when I went to Alhambra Palace. You know, when you hear stories about gardens, beautiful gardens, and, you know, you hear ayahs about, you know, rivers which flow beneath. Wallahi, I felt that in Granada, because this is how they built the gardens there.
Actually, I was doing my GCSE Spanish.
Okay.
Yes, GCSE Spanish, and then moved into A-level Spanish. One of those times, it was my Spanish teacher, a non-Muslim Spanish teacher, actually told me and made the connection to Muslims in Spain. I was a bit confused at the time. I mean, I didn't look into it in much depth, but he talked about one of the masjids where the cathedral has been built in the middle.
Yeah.
Because when the Christians took over and killed off all the Muslims, the king ordered the masjid to be broken down, except he hadn't seen it. And when he did go in to see it, he stopped the work immediately. He said, what are you doing? Don't break this down. It's too beautiful. So which is why you still have the cathedral in the middle and the masjid sort of around it.
Absolutely. The Muslims were known, Shahina, for their architecture, for their knowledge. Like I said, the gardens that they built, these are gardens I haven't even seen, and these are 100 years old. No,
and we actually, it's the historical fact that, and we know now, Spain was a hub, like a capital of knowledge where people used to go to. But okay, so you've had
and then Fez as well. Fez, I'll tell you what.
We've got less than a minute to go.
Okay,
so Palestine,
yeah,
Granada.
I think Fez, and then Istanbul is a favourite as well. I just can't choose, Shahina. There's too many. I've been to, every place has its own prize gem, if you want to call it. It's beautiful.
So which is number two?
I would say
you said
between...
Granada, sorry. So you got Palestine, Granada, and then...
Fez.
And then...
Istanbul, but then...
Why Fez? Can I ask, with Fez, did you go... Because we always talk about Fatima al-Fihri and Al-Qarawiyyan University. Did you go there?
Yes, I did.
How did it feel?
It felt like I was back in time. It was amazing. I loved it. I loved every bit of it, you know.
And this is just to explain the first university ever created in the world, and this by a Muslim woman, Fatima al-Fihri, and this is probably the millionth time you've said this.
I'll say it again, inshallah. Yes, Fatima al-Fihri, she moved, and she basically, with her inheritance money, she built a masjid, and it was not just a masjid, it was a university.
It is. I mean, we do have to go, but was it an amazing experience to be there?
Absolutely. I recommend you all to go there. If you can, then you can.
Jazakallah khair. If people do want to follow you and your travels, where do they go to?
You can find me on YouTube, Shahina Islam, on Instagram, #ShahinasVlogs, Facebook. I'm on
brilliant.
everywhere.
Jazakallah khair so much. I will try and keep up to date with that. Thank you so much for being here. Special thanks to Shahina Islam. Thank you for you watching as well. Now, don't forget, if you have any comments, questions, would just like to give us your feedback, we would love to have them. You can post on our social media pages, facebook.com/womensam.tv, or email us on myic@islamchannel.tv. Thank you so much for watching. See you again tomorrow at 11 a.m. Take care. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.